If you want to get consistent results on Meta, there's only a few things that you need to do. And all of it starts by understanding that the thing that creates predictability on acquisition with Meta is also being able to predictably create new ad creatives so that you can increase your budget over time without running into issues with declining ROAS. And you create new creatives consistently by understanding your ICP and levels of awareness so that you can create new, good advertisements without running stale content or without running out of ideas. And for a little bit of credibility, back in 2024, on one of my first ad account runs, what I was doing is running my own dropshipping store where I was running ads to a product that was supposed to help you quit vaping. It was $29.99 and my product acquisition cost, because it was dropshipping, was $12.50. So I was approximately doubling the price, but about 60% gross margin if you didn't include ad spend or shipping. Plus, I had a weekly or monthly subscription where they would get fidget toys and things like that that were themed around quitting vaping, and it all around had a lifetime gross profit of around $55. They tended to cancel their subscription at either month one or after 6 months, and it averaged out to $55 per acquired customer after you took out all the costs. But that did not include ad spend. For ad spend, especially at the beginning, I had a customer acquisition cost as high as $75, and in that first month, I was probably only making 10 or 20 bucks, so I was losing a lot of money and I was burning cash. The first major fix happened when I actually created better ads. So that took two parts. One, I actually moved on to videos where I was showcasing it in action in realistic scenarios. And I focused on problem statements and problem scenarios. The most prominent ones were, are you struggling with X, or have you been trying to Y? Especially with vaping, it was things like, have you been struggling to quit vaping for 6 months? Ads like that tended to do really, really well, especially if I showcased a scenario, especially my best ad, which was at a party where somebody was scowling at the guy vaping. And another one, if you remember when you were a little kid and you'd walk past the people smoking outside Walmart or whatnot and you'd hold your breath, some people did that. I recreated that ad and had a 14-year-old, because that was the youngest that I could get away with on Meta ads, walking past and holding the breath of a couple of people who were vaping, and then had a headline over that. And that ad did really, really well because it showcased a visual image of what they're doing and trying to quit. That made it so that I had a much lower CPA, which meant that I was actually profitable, oftentimes in the first month, but for sure in the first 2 months after that subscription kicked in. But I still couldn't grow the business because I was capped based on the number of creatives that I was able to create. And so I made a commitment that I was going to create 10 new ads every single week. And that made it so that I could consistently test new messages, new ICPs, and new angles, as well as new visual statements, which increased the total output of the advertising pretty significantly because I was able to increase the budget without running into scaling issues and without running into ad fatigue, which is a problem on Meta ads. So if you're looking at your CPA, your click-through rate, your return on ad spend, and you're trying to optimize day after day, what you're doing is you're actually optimizing a lagging statistic that can take anywhere from days to weeks to actually be accurate. And most importantly, you're reacting to information that is not the cause of what is happening, but rather a symptom of what is happening. So what you actually need to do is rely on, instead of a tiny little number of ads, a large number of ads, and you need to attack the things that are creating the bad ads, which is not understanding your ICP, not understanding problem statements, not understanding how levels of awareness affect advertising, and you need to attack that. So that's what we fix. Now, your ICP is primarily a method that articulates what experiences your target has and the problems and emotions that they're feeling. So in my vaping example, the difference between people who vape and people who are embarrassed to vape in public is very important, because then I was able to create advertisements around that embarrassment rather than around wanting to quit, which are two very different statements. An emotion is a much stronger driver for people doing something than it is to just know what the thing is that you're doing. For example, if your goal is to get 6-pack abs, instead of saying, I want 6-pack abs, you should say, I want to do 25 crunches every single day because I'm embarrassed to take off my shirt when I go to the pool. That is a much stronger motivating factor, and it is something that you can commit to doing every day, not a long-term goal that's maybe 6 months away. And the next thing is levels of awareness, which is how you communicate that problem. For example, someone unaware needs an explanation of the symptoms that they're experiencing and how that relates to the problem that they're causing. Someone problem aware needs an actual solution to their issue, and someone solution aware needs a reason to choose you. So if you ignore this, even if you have a good ICP, even if you have a good problem statement, your ads will underperform. But if you combine both ICP and problem statement analysis with levels of awareness, your ads will really, really perform. So this is the exact step-by-step process that I use to create high-performing meta ads. You want to start by writing out 5 to 10 actual problems that your ICP is experiencing, and the goal is to understand that they should be thinking, that is me, that's what I'm experiencing, you understand it, when they read the problem statement. Now you have to guess a little bit because unless you are that ICP, you're going to have to make an educated guess, but that's why you do 5 to 10. The next step is levels of awareness. Take one problem and write 3 versions of it. You want to start with a symptom. For example, with vaping, it could be the fact that they don't have very much money left at the end of each month and they don't know where all of it's going. Then you could have a landing page that relates to the fact that overspending on vaping and vaping accessories is causing them to lose anywhere from $50 to a couple $100 a month or more. The next example, for people who are problem aware, they know it's vaping, but they don't know how to quit, and you could run ads that are saying, it is easier to quit than you've ever thought before. Finally, you want to go to why the product is a good choice for you. For example, I could cite statistics that my product has the highest quit rate of any product. But really what you want to do is just us versus them ads, why your product is the best choice to help solve their problem. And if you do that for every single one of the problem statements, you should have anywhere from 15 to 30 different ads that you could run for your ad account. Boom, there you go. You have 3 months of testing if you do 10 new ads a month. From there, you actually want to build the volume. Now, this is where most people really screw up. They increase the budget, but they don't increase the number of ads that they're testing. If you start with 10 ads a month and you're doing $100 a day, then eventually you want to scale to 50 ads a month and $500 a day. This is the idea, that they increase in tandem rather than only increasing budget or only increasing the number of creatives. I highly recommend that you commit to a monthly testing volume and then you commit to increasing that by a certain percentage every single month. This will make sure that your budget and your scaling volume go up over time. Also, make sure you do some basic math. If your acquisition cost can only be $35 for you to be profitable and your acquisition is $55, don't just pour money and pour time into new ads. Fix your advertising first. All of that other stuff only applies if your actual advertising is working and your ads are improving over time. If they're not improving over time, you shouldn't be spending more. You should be spending the minimum amount necessary to fix your ads. Retargeting should be an extension of this system where you're effectively creating new angles and new reasons for people to convert, because oftentimes if they went to your landing page but decided not to convert, it was either an ad disconnect or a pricing problem. So they need a little bit more convincing and a little bit more reasoning to actually go through with that purchase. And that is what retargeting ads are. You shouldn't just take your top performing ad creative and run it as a retargeting ad. You should create new creatives and new angles and new reasons for people to purchase. And remember, if you want the perfect customer acquisition system on Meta, you need to stop focusing on finding one perfect ad or one winning ad or whatever variation of that phrase that you want to go with. You want to create a system where you can consistently create new creatives, increase your testing volume, increase your budget over time. This will give you more results. And luckily, I do all of these things for free and then on a performance basis. So I prove that I'm good at it and then I give you the results on a profit split over time. And all you have to do for that is look in the description. You'll see the top link will be labeled free trial of advertising and it will have a link attached to it. You have to go on that link, fill out the form, and I will see if it's a perfect fit for you. And if you want to read the full article version of this video, then it will also be linked, second link in the description. I look forward to seeing you there.